Hello, it's Sunday the 25th of September 2016. It's about 4:50 p.m. I've just woken up after a Saturday night shift and had a sticky drink spilt on the back seat. Just removed the back seat and just put the bridge and where is it? This is where the spill happened, around here and here, and underneath there might be some liquid still coming out, and that's apple cider. Now that's got to be yeah, that whole thing's got to be pressurized, because if I use my steam cleaner machine just on the surface, I'm not going to be able to get through that much thick foam. It's only, the pressure washer's only going to get through probably just, you know, like an inch. It's not going to get all that wet sticky drink, whatever it is, probably apple cider or something. It's not going to get it out, so it needs to be pressure washed, and unfortunately that's going to might take a day or so for this to dry. So yeah, just being a Sunday afternoon and ready for the last day of the week on a Sunday, I would love to work and really make the really juicy bits of the profit of the week at the end of the week, being a Sunday. But yeah, it's not looking like it's going to happen now. It's if I leave this beer in and just steam clean the top of it like any traditional car detailer will do, it'll pretty much yeah, it would only clean the top, and whatever beer is in there will start to ferment and smell. And that's why when you go into taxis, this is the common procedure. What they do, they just steam clean the top and think that everything's okay. This car's been sitting for about 12 hours, so there could have been some liquid on the bottom here. In fact, you can't really see it. There is actually, you can actually see a little bit as I'm pushing it. So it's actually coming out of the black foam. I don't know if you can see that glisten. You can see so it has actually gone right through, and so that's got to be cleaned. The seat's got to be fully pressure washed, and otherwise that's the only way to get all the liquid out of the seat and stop it from fermenting, and then causing you can see a bit of liquid there. It has it's a rubber thing, but you can see the gloss on it. Yeah, to stop it from fermenting and smelling like a taxi, that's the only way to sort of properly clean it. It's not enough just to steam clean the top. And anyone sort of just doing that, you'll soon find out the smell in about a few days to possibly a week, when all that beer that's still stuck in your seat is starting to ferment and cause odor. So it really needs to be. I'm not going to risk, even though I really need the Sunday shift, I'm going to continue to clean it and lose the Sunday shift and see what I can get for reimbursement. Thank you. Yeah, just showing again, I'm about to spray the seat now with G101, which is from AutoSmart, probably one of the best multi-purpose cleaners. It's going to go right into the sponge, and I'm going to spray enough of it, possibly over a litre, over the affected area, which is pretty much around here, and all went in here, and definitely all this area. And I'm going to spray it enough so it actually soaks right through the seat. So pretty much it makes contact with all the whatever it was, apple cider vinegar or beer, some sort of sticky drink. I did see the girls that came in the car, they did bring in drinks, and usually that's okay with me, but yeah, when they left the vehicle they didn't say nothing about it, whether they spilt a drink or not. So and then I saw it later, so just checking, showing again this just how much has it gone through. It's pretty much, you can see this is after one day, even though the seat's dry on the top and looks fine, someone can sit on it, it's absolutely still saturated with beer or whatever it is, cider. So I'm going to spray the seat now, and then I'm going to pressure washer it for several minutes to wash all that soap through. Okay, so I'm just going to spray the affected area mostly. This soap's really going to get deep in the sponge, make contact with all that liquid, and then when I pressure washer it, it'll guarantee pretty much 100% get all of it out, and you absolutely won't have any smells from it. Now, even though the top seat only got affected lightly, I'm still going to do the bottom of the this seat, because that was saturated as well. I think it was pretty much on this side here, which is the driver. This side here is the driver's side. So pretty much all this area got affected as well. So I'm going to pressure wash that. And what I do also while I'm at it, just to remove any other marks as well, you may as well do the whole lot. It's no use just spraying half the seat, otherwise when you clean it, it's going to look like a half clean seat. And this is a good way if you've got absolutely filthy seats, especially if they're clear colour. This will make a seat absolutely brand new, even if it's had 10 to 20 years of grime put into it. You can probably, oh no, this method is the absolute best method, and also it can be used on seat belts as well. You unbolt the bottom of the seat belt, pull it out of the door, slam the door on the seat belt to stop it from retracting. So then you've got about 2 meters of seat belt hanging out of the door, and then you spray this G101. I found G101 is the absolute best. I've used so many different cleaning products, and nothing beats G101. It's just amazing. It's especially when you test it on. This is the affected area here. I don't know. I don't think it's going to do much, but I'm still going to spray it. Hopefully, it looks like it's almost a sealed foam, so maybe we might not get the normal results that I do from some seats where the liquid actually comes out. But I'm still going to spray it. Hopefully the water should come through. I'm going to take this sticker off in case. That's the seat manufacturer sticker. And spray a bit there as well on this other seat. Just do it all the way. Actually, I think it actually went on this section as well. That's the middle of the seat. So that's definitely where the main part of the spill happened. So I'm going to pressure wash under that as well. As I said, yeah, this is going to take some time. I'm going to try to keep it in a hot room. I'm going to find the most hottest room possible with the heater on. Even though it's September now, which is spring, it's not really that warm at the moment. If this was done in the summer, it'd probably dry a lot quicker. But this is the only way it has to be done. Otherwise, yeah, this car's going to smell like stale beer in about a week. And that's not going to affect. That's not going to work too well with my ratings. So I'm going to pause it now, and then we're going to go to the pressure washing. Okay, I'm just about to start pressure washing now. Just sort of going to prime the gun out a bit, get the air bubbles out. I'm going to see how. Hopefully, yeah, you can already see the product looks like it's already coming through the seat, which is good. That means it's definitely pretty much made contact, and if not, the pressure washer can do the rest of it. You can see it's dripping, that's the product. So I've really saturated it, which is pretty much this area, about that area. Now that the gun's primed up, we'll switch it on. And just the last part, I'm going to later take this was absolutely drenched last night, so I'm going to actually remove that and pressure wash that, soak that with G101 and give that a spray. But just for now, I'm going to spray this affected area here, and that's pretty much going to kill all the smell, any beer smell. It's pretty much around here, so actually even in the middle part of the seat it was as well. So pretty much, yeah, this whole black area here. Even though this is rubber, it's going to swallow up the chemical a bit, but I'd rather have that in the... And then I'm just using a chamois just to sort of try to mop it up. But that's definitely going to clean any beer inside it that's stuck in that rubber, or at least get rid of its smell and its effects to cause it the car to go stale. Yeah, the last thing you want is, especially like this car, it's a brand new car, and even if I stop doing Uber driving, if I wanted to sell this car, it would might make it a little bit difficult. Might have to put very heavy deodorants. I've been a car detailer for 15 years, and yeah, cars don't. It's not a good idea to have a heavily. People get suspicious when they smell a heavily deodorized car, and yeah, ideally you should clean up any messes straight away, and you should do it in a thorough manner, as I've sort of done here. Because yeah, it might look good on the surface and feel good and smell fresh on the surface, but eventually all the rest of that product, or that beer or whatever cider, it's going to ferment, and it's going to stink your car, and yeah, it's going to affect your resale value. It's going to cause depreciation of your vehicle, and yeah. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to unbolt these, and yeah, and then I'm going to spray those seatbelt buckle, that fabric part right there, which was saturated last night. So yeah. Okay, so I've removed this seat belt assembly, and these seat belts have like a little mechanism to tell me if the passengers have actually put their seat belts on, which I've disconnected this loom here. So yeah, normally when you're doing with electronics like this, you want to make sure that all this is 100% completely dry before you plug it back in, otherwise it might cause a bit of a short circuit. And so what I do now, I've used this product for years, for Breeze. It's extra strength deodorizer. What I'm going to do, because it's such a porous surface, I'm going to spray this as well, just in case there's any slight traces of beer or cider, whatever it is, in here. And that's I'm going to go to work on that. It's going to permeate and match up with any of the beer, and hopefully neutralize pretty much all of it. And that's about it really. I'm just going to pressure wash this seatbelt buckle now. And yeah, and so this whole job probably would have taken the car detailer, maybe if they were pretty quick and they knew what they're doing, you could probably get the whole washing process and removal seat process done in within an hour. But then it's a matter of waiting for it to dry. That's really the big part. It's not necessarily about the cleaning, it's the waiting for drying. When I used to work in a car dealership, we had a compressor room that was sort of had a massive joint compressor, and I'm just going to flip this screen just to get a bit of yeah, we had a massive giant compressor, and that would be very hot in there. It was underneath the ramp of a dealership, where the cars would drive up the ramp, so it was a really small confined space, and that was very hot. So yeah, I used to do this with cars that had cat's piss on the seats. I used to pull seats out for a lot of the mechanics and help them out that way. And yeah, also vomit damage I've done a lot like this. But I used to, yeah, when I worked at this dealership, I was very lucky to just put it in that room, and it was about 45 degree and very low humidity, and the seat would dry fairly quickly, probably within, even it would penetrate right through the seat, the heat, and probably within about a day or so it was dry. So yeah, it's going to be a bit tricky. I'm going to have to use lots of heaters to try to get this seat dry. But yeah, I'm hoping to get it as dry as fast as possible. Hopefully within a day will be ideal. But I don't know, we'll see how it goes. I'm definitely predicting probably it's going to take maybe 2 days, maybe. We'll see how it goes. But this way, this car now is pretty much at least 99% clean now. Any slight traces of beer still left in are highly unlikely. And And this, yeah, once it's all dry, it's going to be back on the road, and there's going to be absolutely zero traces of smell in it. At the same time, I've cleaned up any dirt and that's on that seat that's accumulated. This car is only 6 months old, but I've already put steam cleaned it just about a month ago, just to sort of freshen it up. So being an ex-car detailer, it's very handy to have all the steam cleaning machines and all that to do regular maintenance. So this car's probably due, just to steam clean it maybe once every 6 months, just to freshen up the seats. And yeah, but unfortunately in this circumstance it needs a little bit more than steam cleaning, vacuum steam cleaning of the seats. And this is the steam clean machine I got. It's a Karcher, and basically it just it sucks up all the dirty liquid in there, and you put your solution in here, water and soap, and it'll pump it through this trigger gun. But I'm not going to put any solution in there, because what I'm going to do is just try to suck as much of this water out. So I'm going to continue to suck as much of this water out as possible, and then put it in a hot environment. So probably going to spend another 15 minutes just trying to get the majority of this liquid out, maybe a little bit longer, just to sort of accelerate the drying process a bit. And then it'll be a matter of in a day or so just putting. So it's now getting towards 6:30 p.m. here in Melbourne, and the sun's going down. And I've sort of done a bit of an estimate of how much would this cost, even if it doesn't really matter what type of spill. It's really the fact that the drying time seems to be the biggest factor in this, because of this thorough process, which pretty much guarantees every single bit of contamination is removed. It's the drying time. Many years ago, when I was working in my car detailing business, I did have an invention where I could probably get a table that spins and strap the wet seats to the table, and using centrifugal force spin the table and try to extract most of the liquid as possible, and then using heat as well to complete the process. This might be able to reduce the drying time to maybe a few hours if it was successful. But at the moment I'm opting to actually put the seats back in. The reason why is my income is usually around, I usually aim to work around 7 days a week, but that doesn't happen that often. And I do like a full shift, a good 12-hour shift, and in those shifts I average around 250 gross to about a little bit over 500 gross. Usually Monday to Wednesday nights, doing the 12-hour shift, can get around 250. Thursday's a little bit more, maybe about 300. And then Friday and Saturday, there's a good possibility to get around the 400 to 500 mark, and possibly even the same on Sunday. So if I would equate my income loss, it'd be a full Sunday. Possibly I would have got it around 300 tonight, because I would have just 4 a.m. deadline on the Monday morning. Probably would have only gotten about 10 hours if I maybe a bit over 10 hours if I started at around 6 p.m. tonight. Gave the car a quick wash and started. But yeah, so if I added say around 250 plus Monday, Tuesday, another 250 there, there's potential about $750 worth of income loss. And then I guess, yes, some cleaning fee. I guess the cleaning fee would be, for someone to come down and spend a quick hour or two, they might charge anywhere maybe a couple $100, and then they might charge another maybe $80 or $100 to put the seats come and put the seats back in or something. That's if you wanted to get someone to do it. So you're probably looking around all up probably $1,000. Uber is actually a supplier company. They don't have any liability. They basically just supply the leads, and you're pretty much your own business. So you're 100% liable for what goes on. If I'm expecting, I'm probably going to get around. I did have vomit last week. 2 girls vomited at the same time. The one on the passenger side managed to get out the door while the car was stopped, stick her head out the door, whereas the other one, she pretty much vomited on this door trim. So, and there was all vomit on the outside of this sort of area here. So I just pretty much got a water bottle, rinsed it all off, had my chamois in the boot, have a bit of cleaning supplies in the boot, cleaned the outside of the car, and then I just sort of chamois the vomit on the inside and in the pocket, took the pocket out. And so I was only off the road for about an hour, and then later on towards the night I went to the car wash and I pressure washed this fabric here. So basically some of the riders probably would have seen that that fabric was a bit wet, but basically it didn't really stop me. So I probably only lost about an hour from that double vomit incident, and Uber paid me $40 for that one. Now basically, yeah, the money that they give is pretty much, it's just voluntary. It's almost like a donation. They got zero liability for what happens in your company. It's your business. If anything, maybe you could have insurance that might give you $1,000 payout for any liquid spill on the inside of a vehicle, to do it this way, to cover 2 to 3 days of loss of income, and pretty much get you back on the road again and get that $1,000, which covers the cleaning costs and your loss of income. But I do know from being 15 years in the car detailing trade, some car details used to have this insurance in case they buffed through the paint and the car required repainting. But many friends of mine that have car detailing businesses as well, they never used to make these claims. Most of the time it wasn't worth the excess, and I think the insurance policy back years ago was about $4,000 a year. So it probably might help out if you got very, very expensive damage done to your car. Something over $10,000 and over, if it's a very expensive prestige car or something. But yeah, I don't know if there will be much insurance companies willing to fork out $1,000 6 times a year, and you're only going to pay them $4,000 in insurance cover. It's not feasible for an insurance company to do that. So yeah, so there's probably not much options really, unless other than to maybe increase your income a little bit throughout the year to sort of cover $5,000 of lost income. You need to somehow figure out a way to increase your income from the supplier, just to sort of cover that $5,000 of potential loss of income from these sorts of events, and to make sure that your car smells nice and fresh all the time. It's not done in a half-assed way, as many taxis evident of this. As soon as you go in a taxi, you can smell the history of how many people have spilt beers and vomited, and they've taken it to probably the local coin-operated steam cleaner machine, where there is a few of them in Melbourne. Quickly steam cleaned the top and left the rest of the liquids inside the seat and underneath the seat, as demonstrated here. There was liquids there. I've done many vomit cleans, and yeah, usually you will see the vomits gone right through onto this part here, so that needs to be cleaned. And it's evidence that the vomit's gone right through the sponge. One solution I know some drivers do is they use waterproof covers on the seats, but for me, that I don't really like that option. It's pretty much going back to the taxi standards and reducing the luxury and comfort that riders have. I want to keep my car as original as possible, even though that might mean the damage level is a little bit more extensive. Leather seats are a bit better option. Pretty much most of the vomit can be maybe quickly wiped as soon as possible, and you might only get a little bit of vomit go through the seams of the leather. But even here, if you've got little traces of vomit going through the seams of the leather into the sponge, you're still going to have to flip the seat upside down and pressure wash all that vomit out. So leather seats aren't going to really protect you much. The only thing is waterproof covers, but again, yeah, I don't really want to go that option. It's just yeah, if I had enough income, I could really, this wouldn't really make a big deal. I could just take it out of my profits, as every other business do. You can't expect to run a business with 0% damages done to your business in some form of a way. You can minimize it, changing your tactics, but even still, you're going to get some sort of damage. Even if you had rubber seat covers, you're probably still going to get vomit on the carpet. And I have actually pressure washed the mats as well using the same process. So they're just hanging on the clothesline now. And I'm going to put the seats back, and what I'm going to do is this is a trick I used to use in the car trade, where you just leave the engine running for about 4 to 6 hours. Usually if it's a light steam clean, you can get away from maybe 2 hours of idling the car with the heater flat out. But because these seats are drenched, I'm going to find some way where I can maybe just go for a drive tonight for a few hours with the heater on flat out, and get some air circulation in there as well to get rid of the humidity. And yeah, also if you're going to use this heated idling technique, you want to keep your windows about 1 centimetre open and let the car cook, and any humidity that's evaporating out of the seats will exit through the window. If you keep your windows closed, you're not going to get the liquid out of the car, and your car's going to turn into a rainforest. I've seen this happen many times over 15 years of detailing, where I tell the customer many times to make sure to keep the windows open as I've left them, and as soon as I go, they put the windows back up, and then they ring me the next morning saying that there's water dripping from the ceiling. So yeah, so keep the windows open, and yeah, vomit should, or any spill really should be cleaned within at least 24 hours, and keep the windows open all the time until that cleaning process is fully done, because what will happen is the smells will ferment, and then they'll start going into the roof lining, because that's a sort of permeable surface. Anything that's permeable, so the rest of your seats, they're going to be contaminated with smell. So you want to keep your windows open until the damage is 100% cleaned. Just so yeah, another trick I used to use in the car trade is a smoke bomb. It's an aerosol can. You put it in on the floor, say around here, just on the floor here. You activate it and it fills up the car with scented smoke. You switch your engine on and with the air conditioner running, and it permeates most of the things. But these things don't usually work 100%. The best thing is just to clean the mess up straight away as soon as possible, as thoroughly as possible, even if that requires some loss of income and time. And that's the best way. This car's going to smell absolutely brand new. There's not going to have any traces of smell. I've had riders in the car before, you know, they smell the most tiniest thing, maybe from the previous rider that might have been a bit smelly. They'll smell, they have very sensitive noses, they'll pick it up from the previous rider, and then they'll file a report saying that your car's smelly and give you a 1 star. If you keep getting these 1 stars because your car smells like a taxi, you're going to lose your job. You're not going to have an income. So it's probably more profitable, even though you're going to lose probably around $5,000 of income and cleaning costs. You're probably better off doing it the most thorough way, because it's going to keep your job in the long run. And also it's not going to cause thousands of dollars of depreciation in your car, and also make it difficult to sell afterwards. You know, customers aren't silly when it comes to buying a car. If they know the car's heavily scented, I've seen in the car trade for 15 years, people just walk away from them. Car dealers don't want to buy them because it's just too much trouble to sell. You know, and sometimes you know, there's some cases where if a car's expensive enough, is high value enough, they'll actually replace the interior of the car because it's worth it. I heard about a case of an old man. He got into his Rolls Royce one day in his house, in his garage, and he passed away. He was discovered a week later, and the car absolutely stunk. The car was valued at over $100,000 and was selling for $30,000, and the interior, to buy full new interior and to get someone to fit it, was around $30,000. So whoever bought that car would have spent $30,000 on the car, another $30,000 on the interior to be replaced, and probably made themselves a $40,000 profit. But it sort of goes to show how serious smell is. It's not something to be taken lightly. There's lots of financial losses from smells, and yeah, doing it thoroughly and properly first time round is the best way. So yeah, I'm going to put these seats back in, and then I'm going to hopefully drive the car for around, maybe because it's so late, I'm not going to leave it idling in the backyard and wake the neighbours up. So I might have to yeah, go for a bit of a drive tonight, bit of a cruise tonight for about 4 hours, and hopefully that's going to remove at least hopefully 30 to 50% of the wet, and then continue on this idling process in the morning. Just leave it on for 6 to 10 hours if I need be, until the car's absolutely cooked and the majority of it's dry. And I might actually consider buying temporary waterproof good looking seat covers in the morning, just so I can probably start driving while the seats are continually drying, so I don't lose more income, so I don't have to wait till Wednesday morning before the car's possibly fully dry. I might look at plan B, which is getting these seat covers on the waterproof seat covers, and might not look attractive, but at least it'll keep me on the road for the next couple of days and make some money, because I'm not predicting I'm going to get any money from Uber, or not any money, but I'm probably only going to get $40. We'll make a video just to, probably later on, just to show how much I actually did get. Possibly maybe send Uber a request if they could possibly pay a little bit more, just due to the loss of income and the thorough procedure that I use to clean, which they might not be aware of this type of cleaning method. And also, a lot of car details will not do this sort of method. I would say, probably from my experience, 99% of car details will not do this. And the clever detailers would actually, if they got the courage to speak up and ask for an extra fee, they'll say, yeah, I'll do it. I've never done it before, but I'm not liable, you know, for whatever might happen, any electronic dysfunction, whatever, and charge you an extra fee. I know myself, if this was for me to do, I'd probably charge, you know, I'll try to get it done as fast as possible, the washing process, and then come back and probably charge, you know, anywhere about at least $300 minimum. It'll probably take me, you know, 4 hours or something in commuting and reinstallation and washing and all that. So I would want at least $300 for something like this. Some detailers might charge a little bit more to keep your car in storage and wait for the seats to dry and then reinstall the seats, anywhere up to maybe $500. So yeah, but just wanted to make this video just to show what the potential costs are for liquid contamination, whether that be anything, beer or vomit or urine or whatever. In most liquids, beer is not too organic. It's not like vomit, and milk's another really bad one. I've actually seen maggots under here. I had this community bus that was used for a hostel, and someone, I think, spilt a big M, and a car detailer came and done the traditional $40 or $100 quick steam clean the surface, didn't take the seat off the bottom and check what was underneath, and finished the job, got his quick $40 or $100 or whatever it was. And then a week later the clients called me because the car was stinking, and I came and back then, this was years ago, probably charged a few hundred dollars. As I removed the seats, there was actually maggots sitting here because the milk had rotted, and because it's so organic, maggots were there, and the car absolutely, the van actually stunk. And I washed all the seats, cleaned up all the maggots, deodorizer. I left the deodorizer on this to dry, so I'm pretty certain that's not going to smell at all. You know, especially like something like beer. Beer's pretty good. It's not super organic, as I said. Yeah, so yeah. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'm just going to put the seats in, and I might add a few more videos on maybe just my income or something later. Thank you. And another idea I had is, if you're doing this as a full-time business, and you're doing it, and you're probably going to get about 3 years of use out of your vehicle by the time it gets to 300,000 Ks. I'm averaging about 100,000 Ks per year, so this car's probably got about another 2 years left, 2 and a bit years left in it before probably needs to be traded in, and I need to get a new vehicle. But might be able to get second-hand seats. Car that's been ridden off that has the same trim, possibly even just buy the bottom seat, and maybe the passenger seat, and have them as spares. And whenever you get seat contamination, you can quickly swap them over and clean them and let them dry later. And if you get vomit on the carpets, then it won't really, the rider's not going to be able to detect really if the carpets are wet. And the carpets dry very quickly. They're actually it's a waterproof membrane underneath, sort of. They've got like a waterproof membrane underneath, so any water that sits in here, it pretty much it's contained. So once you steam clean with the vacuum and suck up the water, carpets dry pretty quick. You put the heater on the floor for about an hour, and they're pretty much bone dry after that. And so it's really just this base seat here, and possibly the passenger seat, and even possibly these back seats here might need to be might be considered, if you're doing it full time, to have spare ones maybe and swap them over. I've decided instead of driving the car or idling it, which isn't really much of a possibility because it's so late, this is another option. I used to do this many times, sometimes leave a heater for the clients, and so I'm just going to leave the heater on all night for the next 12 hours, keep the windows open about a centimetre, and use the confined space of the car to create a very hot environment so these seats can dry quickly. So I've actually put the seats back in now, and actually put this seat back on a bit of an angle just so gravity can run down the seat and sort of yeah, make it a bit more quicker to dry rather than just having it flat. And that one's vertical as well, so the moisture will run down the seat as well to help accelerate the process. So I'm going to, I've already opened the windows, I'm going to switch the electric heater on and let it cook for a while, for a good 12 hours. So the car's been cooking for a few hours now. It's got the heater, you can see there, and yeah, so it feels like about 40 degrees in here, and the seats are quite warm, and yeah, hopefully by the morning, after whatever, another 8 or 10 hours, whatever it's going to be, this is going to be quite mostly dry. Who knows, maybe I might not even have to get waterproof seat covers in the morning from Autobahn as a temporary measure to keep driving. It might be suitable. We'll see how it goes. So it's 9:30 Monday morning, and this thing's been cooking for over 13 hours, and it's very good. It's just a little bit of moisture on the bottom. Yeah, it might be able to even use the car today. It was really hot inside, and to go for non-stop for 13 plus hours, I'm actually going to put the heater on again and give it more of a cook, and hopefully be able to use it today. So yeah, hopefully it'll only be pretty much just almost one night of drying, one day or night of drying. So it's now Monday, 4 PM, so this heater's been going for about 20 hours non-stop, and it's pretty much dry now. So I think maybe because it's a highly nylon fabric, and the sponge probably isn't as thick as sponges that I've done previously. Normally I have done cars like this before, and they do definitely take about 2 days. They're still dripping wet after 2 days. Or maybe this heater is a little bit stronger than the heaters I've used in the past. But yeah, it seems all dry. I'm going to put it back together now. So pretty much took 1 day from the Sunday 5 PM, and it's almost that now. It's been 24 hours since I've pulled the seats out, and about to put it all back together again. So yeah. So the seat's all back in now, pretty much from Sunday 5 PM to almost Monday 5 PM. It's been 1 day, and it's absolutely no traces of smell now. The total cost of all this would probably be the one Sunday shift. I probably would have made around $300. And on Saturday night when the incident happened, I was spending about an hour in the back seat trying to dry the seat, and then happened at about 11 PM, and then by midnight I was back on the road again, so I lost about an hour on a busy Saturday night. And then yeah, just a bit of an inconvenience just to ring the next 10 riders until 6 AM when I finish, just to let them know that I have had a spill. And luckily pretty much all the riders, I only picked up 1 or 2 riders at a time, and only one group of people had 4 people. And yes, one of the passengers did sit on the affected area and said she didn't feel anything, so maybe she was just being nice. But so all up, it probably costed about $300 of lost income, possibly a little bit more with the 1 hour, so around $350. And possibly yeah, to get a job like this done didn't take too long. Just quickly rip the seat out, pressure washer it with soap, and then steam clean the vacuum the seat to get any excess water out, and then throw it back in the car to dry for 20 hours. I reckon, yeah, someone would, I've done this myself, but because I've got all the equipment, but someone would probably charge at least $200 to have the car either sitting at their workshop or make 2 visits to spend an hour pulling the seat out and or an hour and a half, and then come back again to reinstall the seat, which I know that's what happens. A lot of people aren't too sure on how to put a seat back in or whatever, and really would just prefer to pay someone to do it. So this is pretty common, unless you're, you know, have a bit of do-it-yourself to doing things. And yeah, it's probably, if you were to pay someone, it'd probably cost at least $200, I would say, for someone to come out to make 2 visits, wash the seat, leave the heater for you, and then come back and reinstall the seat. So yeah, so possibly at least $550 in loss of income. Will I actually allow people to? I know some drivers here that don't allow any drinks or food in the car whatsoever to stop this happening. But I've done 3,000 trips, and this is the first time this has happened. And also, I've only just had the 2 girls vomit, which wasn't too much of it. I only lost about an hour from that. So I'd probably still continue let people drink. There's you know, at least a few hundred people in 3,000 trips. I've probably, things have run smoothly and, you know, allowed people to drink. So if this only happens once every 6 months or something, I guess it's not too much of a financial cost. Even though it's around the $550 mark for one little spill. But just goes to show, yeah, the extent of what it takes to really properly clean a car. Like, this car is absolutely like in show car condition, and it's got 0 smell, and it's going to continue on doing the work and not having any smells in it. Definitely with all that beer stuck on the bottom of the sponge, it wouldn't have been good. It definitely would have started to stink up after a week, and definitely wouldn't have liked to have put lots of perfumes to try to cover that up. People can usually just tell you're trying to do that, and it doesn't really smell that good, the car, and wouldn't have been good for my ratings. So yeah,